right, y'all. Welcome to Chop It Up with Soops, man. It's a great evening, day, whenever you're watching this. I'm super excited for this today. To me, this is probably one of the biggest interviews I've ever done. One of the dopest people in the city of Painesville, city of Cleveland, this is the whole Ohio itself, hip hop legend, marketing expert, host guy. I mean, Mark, this guy is everything. Some people know him as the host guy. Some people know him as Ryan. Some people know him as DJ Shugabooga. Some people know him as Shugabooga. And the only reason I did the DJ Shugabooga, we'll talk about that. But some people know him as a whole lot of things. I know him as my brother. We got Shugabooga in the building, man. I'm super excited for this one.
Y'all know what it is. Your boy in the building, not me. Yeah. Y'all feel me? Y'all know I feel like everybody has to start with, listen, if we already know who it is, why do you need to tell me again?
Right.
Yes, I know what you mean when you say it's your boy. But what if you're not my boy? I don't know that everyone who says it's your boy, a lot of them I don't know. I don't have a frame of reference around you to call you my boy. Soup is my boy. Soup is my boy. And I'll tell you now, for those who don't know about Soup, since he wants to throw hyperbole and superlatives, Soup is one of my favorite guys because Soup came around when we were on the radio, and that voice at radio showed up one day and was like, man, I just want to learn more about it. Just wanted to come hang out because he loved music, loved the idea of radio. And that night, with the incredibly secure premises of voice at radio, Errol Porter said, you want to run the board? Yeah. All right, I'm out. And he left. And Soup was left with 64 tracks of audio to figure out, had never run a soundboard, but he never stopped after that. He showed up to everything, every opportunity. He took advantage of it. And Soup, I've always respected you for that. So I'm glad. I mean, we talk about a platform. All we did was hang out for a minute, and then you were just there every day. Like, it's not. Listen, I'd love to say I was this big mentor that planned this big thing, like showed up and had a job. So it's pretty.
So look, it was an amazing thing. Like, we met at work. So we met we can say it now. We met at Bank of America.
Yeah, the seventh level of hell.
So it was in break, and we got to talking about music and everything, and then you started. You brought back Bubble and Blow, and you were doing it from your basement. And then I listened to you interview Turk, and I was like, "Oh, this shit is cool! Like, I really want to learn how to do this." And then I started just picking your brain. You was like, "Just come down to the radio station." I was like, "For real?" Yeah. Come down, and I'm like, I'm just on like cloud nine. I'm like, I'm going to a radio station, and then I go, and then you guys are talking to, I think, Razkaz.
Yeah.
That was the first one, and then they put me on the board that day. And then they said, all right, come back next Thursday. Come back next Thursday, and it's Chuck D. I'm like, so I'm like, all right, this is amazing. Yeah. But
that video, that just resurfaced too. I found something that came in my memories, and it resurfaced. And that's one of my favorite interviews ever, because he was like, because of the Nerve DJs and you, and I'm like, wait a minute. Somebody get that? Who got that? Anybody? Soup was on the button.
It was so funny because when Chuck started talking, he was kind of just like, yeah. And then when he was like, yo, Johnny O said, Johnny. And it was just a whole different interview after that. And then I realized, I'm like, oh, I'm in a presence of greatness, and I didn't even realize it. So I'm like, oh, this is really cool. But the reason, like, you say you didn't do anything, but I learned everything. Like, my platform is because of you. So like, I learned that. I learned how to do all of this because of you. So like, I just wanted to give you your flowers. I don't know if I've ever given you your flowers like this.
We doing drink champ. Give it up. Yeah. Come on, give it up.
So
do I get flowers? Do you have like a chocolate flower or something?
I wish. But I definitely, like, you are like my brother. I appreciate you. Like,
absolutely.
And we've grown so much. We've had our ups and downs, but we've grown so much. And I truly appreciate you. And so for everybody who don't know, Shugabooga is probably one of the dopest hosts in the city. Probably, to be honest, one of the dopest hosts in the world. Like, dude can host the hell out of anything. And he is great at what he does. He's also an MC. He's also a marketing engineer. Like, he's an expert at marketing right now. I'm quite sure you guys have seen so many different ads and things, and Shug has been a part of those things. Edwin's and different food trucks and pizza shop, all types of stuff, some barbecue stuff going on. It's so much stuff going on that he is behind the scenes of. And I just wanted to get you on and just talk about a little bit of your history. So like where did Shugabooga come from?
So my mother used to call me her little Shugabooga. And not knowing that was like a street term. My mother was the most naive, beautiful, wonderful little creature. She didn't know that she was setting me up to be like a rapper with like a street name. Like, she didn't know that's what it was. So some of my friends call me Shug. My guy Zell that owns the Gentleman's Cave always calls me Boogie. So depending on how you knew me, I got one of those names. But I was Sugar Shack. A lot of people don't remember that era. And my dude was Big Oogie. So we were doing production for different people, and we called it Shugabooga Productions. We kind of combined that. So then when we kind of dissolved, then I went back to being Shugabooga like my mom called me, and went from there. So it wasn't always my thing. But one thing is, it's one of the only names that I can think of that has that cachet. Because I, when I look, especially now, when everybody's like, XL Diesel and YFN or YCK or something, you don't really get to know who they are. You don't see the separation. Whereas I always wanted people to know I am not anybody else. There was not going to be another Shugabooga. And I remember when I first started, there were a lot of dudes like, man, I can't call another dude Shugabooga. I just can't bring myself to do that. But they do now. You know what I mean? Like, it took a minute, but now they do because they love it. And then as I started to do more charity stuff, I started to get away from the Shugabooga and just Shug, to get away from some of that context. But as far as names go too, here's one of the things that I tell everybody. I worked hard to be known as Shug. So like when I just did a huge event for the Case Western University Cancer Research Department. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about $300,000 worth of fundraising that night. Mm-hmm. But on everything that was there, it said Ryan Shug Gilkerson. I've got an article on my wall that was written about me. And I told them to call me Ryan Shug Gilkerson. They didn't. I made them rewrite it because I said, that's the brand. There's some people who know Ryan. There's some people who know Shug. So that is the branding of myself. So that name becomes important, just like Soup for you. Like I called you Super Engineer Mike, and then we just shortened it to Soup, and now you're Soup. Like that's what everybody knows you in the city. It's Mike Soup Reeves. Some people know Mike Reeves. Everybody knows Soup. And that's what you brand yourself for. You work hard to get a name people know, so you can't let it go. And again, if you're young listening to this, differentiate yourself. Don't call yourself three initials. I keep rambling, but when the ASAP Mob and ASAP Rocky came out, they did it with the A so they'd be closer to the top of alphabetical charts. And that made a lot of sense. ASAP Rock comes out the top of everything because it's A at the beginning. So when you're YZN or whatever you are and it starts with a Y, if there's an alphabetical list, you're going to be at the bottom. So, just be strategic with it. That's all.
So speaking of names, I said a name that is not your name, but I thought it was your name.
What's that? I didn't even notice.
DJ Shugabooga.
Well,
so there was a big thing about that. We was standing outside of Voice It, and I had your number, and I was like, "Yo," I think we was looking at text message or something. And he was like, "That's not my name." I was like, "Yeah, you said DJ Shugabooga," and he was like, "No, I didn't." And he was like, actually legit mad, and I was just like, "But that's what you said." And it was DJ, it was Nerve DJs.
Yes.
Shugabooga. And I was assuming, I'm like, oh shit, he's a DJ because he worked with Nerve DJs. So I'm like, yeah, DJ. So I said DJ Shugabooga. So, you know, so
I will tell you, and you and I had a big fight one time. I will tell you now, since the time that I used to get mad at things, I found out that I am neurodivergent. So I have not only ADHD that's pretty severe, but I have a mood disorder that I didn't know that I had that is very similar to bipolar disorder. My episodes aren't as long, but I have those, oh my gosh, I'm so mad. And oh my gosh, I'm so happy. And oh my gosh, I'm sad. And there's a lot of things that were going on earlier in my life that I didn't know even why I'd get mad at things. I don't know why I even get mad at DJ Shugabooga. But while we're on that, I used to get kind of upset about that because I'm not a DJ and I felt like I was disrespecting DJs because anybody that knows me knows my DJs come first. I love my DJs. Those are my guys. I wish I could DJ. They're the ones I admire way more than an MC. I think what they do is incredible. They created an instrument. But DJ Johnny O one day called me DJ Shugabooga. And I said, Johnny, you know, that I'm not a DJ, dude. Like, I respect that, but don't say that. We got all these DJs. He said, are you a DJ on the radio? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm a talking DJ, not a mixing DJ. I just talk. He goes, do you help promote artists? And I said, yeah. He's like, you ever broken a record? I'm like, yeah. He was like, then you're a DJ, bro. It's what it is. So I've kind of been welcomed into the Nerve DJs through that. And, you know, I'm always repping Nerve DJs. I'm proud to be with the Nerve DJs. So that honorary DJ means something to me now. I don't get offended by that anymore.
Right.
But you shouldn't have put it on your phone. That's disrespectful.
So, all right. So for the people who know me also that don't know this side of me, that what you said about DJs that's my whole motto. Like what DJs do is just something so incredible. So I don't like being called a DJ either. Like just call me a curator or something because I just press buttons. Like I don't do anything like that. Right. But I know how to set a vibe. But I'm not a DJ. So it's like what DJs do, and you know, just the. Like without a DJ, you don't get half of the you don't get anything. You know, you don't get the MC, you don't get nothing. So the DJ is like the most important part when it comes to this culture. So I have a healthy respect of like, don't call me a DJ. You know, I'm a curator, and you know this like that. So yeah, I understand.
DJ culture. I don't know where you're going with this long term, but DJ culture is something that AI is threatening. In a lot of ways. Now, everybody's like, oh, they'll never replace a DJ. I don't know, man. It's not today.
It's getting there.
But it's getting smarter and smarter and smarter and more attuned and more attuned. Yep. Jokingly, I don't support AI being on the radio and taking over for artists, but I started a fictitious record label for one of my clients, and I'm making fun, like parody songs. I write the lyrics, you know, but I put them into this generator that gives them a voice, gives them a melody, and lays it out. And dude, they're bangers. I mean, they're good. And I feel like, well, I wrote the lyrics. At least I didn't steal everything. You know what I'm saying? But they're good songs. I was watching a playlist. I was in my basement, probably drinking bourbon and throwing darts in my basement. And I put on this YouTube playlist. And it was this playlist on YouTube, and it had like John Wick or something on the screen. And it was like men who love the dark and suspicious things, something like that. And it was all these like blues songs talking about like the mafia. And I'm like, dude, this is sweet. So I'm hitting Shazam. I'm like, what is it? Wouldn't come up. And then I realized it was all AI. Everything on that playlist. And I'm like, I don't know. So I listen to it a lot, but I'm just out here playing and I feel bad. But AI made the music I wanted to hear. Like, I don't know what to tell you. So I hope that people understand hip hop enough to know that AI making hip hop especially is cheating. Making hip hop lyrics is sacred. And I know that that's coming out. I hope that at least the hip hop community says, I don't care how dope this AI is. it's not real. We're not going to support it. I have a feeling the younger generation is going to end up not caring, to be honest.
So, I mean, I get where you're coming from, but if that was the case, Drake wouldn't be where he's at.
I know.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we would have, back in the day when we caught him taken from other artists and different things, we would have put a stop to it then. We didn't.
You're right.
And he's one of the biggest artists in the world today. So, the AI thing is not going to, I think it's going to end up taking over at some point. And then we're going to end up getting back to, you know, original art because people are going to get tired of it. So everything goes in circles. But, you know, I think with this whole AI thing is one of those, it's useful. It can be useful. It can be very, very useful.
I agree.
I just saw something with Benny Siegel.
I was just going to say that.
To me, I think that's the perfect use for AI. Yes. So like AI for, you know, shit, I think if DLC do it, like that would be like the perfect. Was the two
they mentioned. So here's the question then, Mike, without getting too far off. I know this isn't exactly what you wanted to do.
No, this is exactly what I want to do.
You're a Jay Dilla head, right? You are the Dilla head of all Dilla heads.
No.
The biggest. You have a Jay Dilla tattoo. It's crazy. You have a QR code that takes you to your Jay Dilla tribute site.
No, that's DJ Tech.
But fair. But like, what if they regenerate a Jay Dilla AI persona? Like, I would hate that, but it's probably coming. You saw the hologram concerts, right? That was the rage. It's going to happen, just like in movies. They're going to bring back the old stars. They're already doing that when they take the I mean, that is going to come. And I think that is the tipping point because I think there's a lot of people in our age demographic. I mean, my age demographic, you're not nearly as old. But I feel like people from my age group are going to be like, man, if there's a new Biggie or Tupac, I don't care if they're there or not. I'm going to listen to it. Because I miss Pac, so I'll listen to Pac. Like, I think there's a lot of people that would do that.
I think that's going to be the problem. Is like with Dilla, you can't recreate Dilla. Like Dilla is a one of a kind. The way he chopped samples, the way he was offbeat with things, and it's still, you know, connected. There's something with Dilla that you just can't recreate. So like, I would hate for them to go and recreate, you know, past artists, like artists that have gone and, you know, passed on and stuff like that. I have a problem with Timberland doing. Like Timberland, he's alive and well. I have a problem with that. Like,
I agree.
Why can't you make the music?
Right.
You know, that you've made greatness before.
It takes away from his genius.
So
but here's the other thing. Here's the thing when you talk about Dilla and they can't recreate it, the vocal part of it is harder. But remember that music is mathematics. It's all mathematical equations. It's all based on the Pythagorean theory. It's all based on math. The algorithm is math. So once it figures out the mathematic formula for the Jay Dilla sound and comes up with that algorithm, it will be able to mimic Jay Dilla. As much as we say, well, you can't capture the soul. Well, the soul was just in that math.
It's true.
You call it soul. It's math. True. So that's why I say, so the lyrics and the vocals, it's getting closer and closer to catching emotion. I think there's still a line there where it might not be able to get it. But let's be honest, Mike, lyrics don't mean what they used to.
No, they don't.
Your generation. It doesn't have to be a complex lyricist to do what they do.
But with the music that just recently came out, from the Clips to Mobb Deep to Slick Rick to De La Soul, lyrics is starting. And even go back to last year with Kendrick with the GNX album. Like lyrics is starting to matter. So like, I think it's starting to pivot to okay, they really not talking about shit, so I don't want to listen to it. Right. It's cool, you know. It's cool to put it on your TikTok. It's cool to put it on IG. Right. But I'm not going to a concert. I'm not actually going to listen to the album. Like, that's what I'm starting to see. More people are starting to, you know, drift into real music.
We say that, but there's a part of that that's in a vacuum. Clips, very successful.
Right.
Huge selling album. Nobody else you just mentioned is moving the needle in terms of sales at all. I loved the Deep album. I loved the Big L album. I'll say De La Soul's album, probably my second favorite album of the year next to Clips. I even love the Memphis Bleak album. I don't know if you got that. I think the Memphis Bleak album he just put out is probably better than anything he put out back in the day. It's a good album. Yeah, I think it's a good album. I enjoyed it. Nobody cares under the age of 40. Nobody cares. So I've seen so many comments on things like, who's De La Soul? Never heard of them. Who the hell cares? So as much as it's good for us and we like that feeling and they get to be on Joe and Jada and they get to do Drink Champs and they get to do this and that, at the end of the day, our demographic doesn't support people on digital platforms. They just don't. You look at the numbers, we don't support them. And again, you listen to Scarface, with how many downloads you have to have, they can make money touring still make money in Europe. But when you talk about, it's coming back, no, it's not. It's not coming back.
I mean, I want to believe it's coming back.
Oh, everybody does. People look at Freddie Gibbs. Oh, Freddie Gibbs is out there. Larry June is out there. It's so hard. Look at where they fall on the charts. I love them too. I enjoy it.
I didn't like Freddie Gibbs' last album.
Huh?
I didn't like Freddie Gibbs' last album.
I don't love him in Alchemist. Can I tell you now, hot take, I'm tired of Alchemist. Alchemist makes some of the most, what happened? Alchemist makes some of the most boring beats.
I gotta agree. I gotta agree. This Alchemist, I want We Gonna Make It. Like, I want to hear something like that.
Yes.
And these drumless, these boneless beats and stuff, I'm like, all right, it's cool. Like, that's the wave he on right now. So I'm like, okay, that's cool.
And I really like Griselda, but it is very hard for me to listen to. Like, I love Conway.
It's hard for me to listen to one. It's hard for me to listen to Benny the Butcher. I think Benny is overrated. I
like the other two guys better.
Yeah, I got Westside, Conway, and then everybody else. Stove God.
Right.
And
I like Stove God. I like guys that sound different. And Stove God is different. And Conway is different. I've always been attracted to guys that just don't sound like everybody else.
Yeah, I think Shay Nor is up there too. Like, I'll take Shay Nor over Benny. So okay. So hold on. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this part of the interview, what y'all just witnessed is what me and Shug used to do on Thursdays.
Yes. Yes.
On the Bubble and Blow show. We would talk about music and debate back and forth.
Yeah.
We were really the original debating show. Like, we were like the original debate show.
Absolutely.
And we didn't get our credit, but we this is what we would do on Thursdays. And so, for people that are looking at this is the reunion of Bubble and Blow.
Absolutely. We were kind of like Joe and Jada, because I would just be on all kinds of cap and talking, and he said he's on Georgia. He said Georgia, throwing flags. Like, that's kind of what we were. We were kind of like Joe and Jada, which, by the way, I watched Joe and Jada for hours while I'm working. I put it on, and I laughed so hard. That would be the worst show to be. I don't know why they have guests. He never lets me talk. Why are you bothered? Just have him sit up there and say a bunch of dumb stuff and have Jada throw flags and let's go home.
Is he worse than Nori?
Oh, yes. Yes.
So I never watched the full episode.
Oh my God. It's the greatest thing. Like, De La Soul was on there.
Yeah.
And Maceo was like, man, this is the greatest show. He's like, hip hop needed this. He was like, this is like me watching the show from home. He's laughing. He's like, this is just like watching the show. Because Fat Joe is so full of, he's the ultimate Mr. Me Too. But then sometimes they'll be like, no, that really happened. That really was him. But no matter what they say, Soup, did I ever tell you about the time? This is Joey Crack, Campbell Soup. I was at his house. He's one of the biggest soup dealers in America. I was at his house. It's like, what? You do not go to Campbell's Super Flag. I mean, I don't know. Sorry to get up on that tangent too, but that is
I get it.
What I love about it, though, bringing it all back together, is I didn't get all the way into podcasting. Podcasting, like what you're doing, takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of energy, and it's a different thing to get into. When we had Black and White with Suge and Mike, which was an incredible show. It was a video show. Look it up on YouTube if you haven't. We had a great platform. It was awesome. But when we lost our camera guy, we were like stuck. We're like, oh, well, I guess that's the end of it. Like, because there was so much to it. The editing to that was so intense. When I edit a 1 minute reel for my clients, some of those 1 minute reels take me 2 hours because of the editing process behind it.
Right.
And, matching captions and lip syncing and editing and overlays and stuff, finding which clips I want to use. So imagine doing a half-hour episode of that and putting it all together. And he had multiple cameras. I'm using one camera, multiple cameras. And it's just, there's so much that goes into what they do. Now, Nori and Joe, or Jada and Joe's probably a little easier because they really just have 2 cameras. One of them's on it most of the time. It's not exactly.
They also got a budget and they got a team. So multiple people doing it. So,
everything from the lighting, like when you think about what it takes to do a podcast at that level, a lot of people probably don't have an appreciation for the lighting and the sound. And what's funny on that show too, though, is you always see like a grip or a guy working run into like pick stuff off the ground, or like they're shuffling papers and running out. So that's the thing that on podcasts you're allowed to do that you wouldn't have been able to do on television. But what they're doing with podcasting is what I love to do, because I just want to turn on a thing and start talking. That's the whole dream. That's why, you and I have talked. That's why I like being on WOVU instead of being on a 107.9, is if I wanted to talk for 20 minutes and then play 2 songs, I could do that. If I want to talk for 5 minutes, play songs every 5 minutes, I could do that. I don't know that that's the best format. I don't know that it's not. But if I had something to say, I liked having the time without somebody telling me to stop. And that's what makes podcasts great. If you look at the Nori stuff, the Jada and Joe, some of the episodes are an hour, some are 2 hours, some are 45 minutes, some are 3 hours, just depending on how long they want to go and what the vibe is. So
that's the same for us. So I got to shout out my producer, Mr. Al Pete. Is probably one of the dopest producers. He's out in Florida. He's producing this. Like, he's one of the dopest. And what you were explaining about, how they cut things, this hearing how he does it, and it's a one-man show, and like the way that he cuts and edits and different things, like we don't give them enough credit. Like, we got to give them their credit. Like, without them, like, this doesn't happen. But
dude. I tell people all the time, some people aren't meant to be MCs or DJs or podcast hosts. Some people aren't meant to be that. Some people are meant to be a producer. Some people are meant to be a sound editor. There's other ways to get into entertainment besides doing what you dreamed of when you were little. It might not happen for that. I started out as a rapper. When I didn't make it as a rapper, I started hosting, and I was great at hosting, and I had a lot of opportunities through the hosting. Then I got into doing like the Bubble and Blow. It was a podcast. We call it a radio show. That was a podcast. And, then we got into doing radio and all this stuff. Like, one thing led to another. But I always thought I was going to be an MC and have record deals. I had opportunities that I was real close, and I thought, oh, man, that's going to be my thing. But when that left, another opportunity came up. So if I would have been one of these dudes to say, nah, B, I'm an MC, that's all I do, I would have been out of this 20 years ago. I wouldn't have had all the opportunities. So, I just encourage people, you might love hip hop, but you might not be a rapper. That doesn't mean you tap out, So many people have cool jobs in the industry, So a lot of things to do.
Speaking of MCing, you were in a group. And what was the name of that group?
I had multiple groups, but I started out with a group called White Trash that turned into the Union. That was probably the most successful. I was in a group called the Hood Factor, where I was the only white dude. We had like 19 dudes, and we did stuff with like Wu-Tang and people like that. And then I was a member of 71 North for a while. I was like the line dancing group. I was a hype man for 71 North. I spent a limited amount of time with the Chop Shop Renegades, with Arrogant and his crew. So I claim a whole lot of crews, man.
So the one that always caught me off guard when I swear I thought you was joking when you said he was like, yeah, I was a member of White Trash. I'm like, nah. I was like,
well, here's the thing about that group. So we had a manager. The original group was Shades of Grey. And the three guys that I'm friends with were rapping. I was at the University of Toledo. They were guys I grew up with. One of them worked at Video Game Exchange. And this Italian guy kept coming in. And he was like a slick talking, like mafia guy. And he kept talking up my buddy that worked there. So one day my buddy said, asked him what he did. And he said, I'm a manager in the recording industry. And Sean was like, well, who do you manage? And at that time, this dude was managing Tony Braxton, The Brat, 8-Ball and MJG, and Bone, like everybody else. Turns out he was more of a road manager than a manager, kind of mixing in. But he definitely was a good fella. But he told Sean, my buddy, he was like, hey, I will manage your two buddies, but only if you're in the group. And Sean didn't even rap. He didn't even write raps. He loved hip hop. He was shy and he never was good at it, the whole run. But they did that. And then I came home from Toledo one weekend where I was at college, recorded one verse, and the guy was like, new plan. I'm not going to manage the group unless he's in it. He's going to be in it. So we started recording some songs. He goes, you guys got to do something punchier, man. You need a little edge. You guys are going to be White Trash. And all right, cool. Why not? Gives us a little thing. So that caught on like crazy. So we went from doing like people inviting us to do like graduation parties, and we'd show up to house parties and just start rapping. First show we ever did, we had a sound system hooked up to the battery of a Pontiac Brougham in a backyard, and that was our sound system. A week later, we were opening up for Joe at Bells on the Circle. Literally a week later, we were at Bells on the Circle. Actually, that was Mike Berry, the film producer. He used to be Big Gank with Fade Entertainment. We worked with two of the guys that were with Fade. And it was Big Gank's first show. So that was actually our first show, both at the same time. So, but we did things that black people like too. One of the hits that we do at the show was Fuck You White Boy, Fuck You Too. Playing on that. And white kids at college campuses loved it. We did the college circuit. We did all the Kent State, the fraternities would bring us down, Mount Union, OU. We did that whole circuit because every song we had was either that or talking about getting drunk, every song. So, but then we would do like we did Down the Way Fest, Buckeye Fest, doing the FU White, but we had to switch it up. But people loved it. I'll never forget being at Randall Park Mall with my mother. And we were going to buy, I think it was Christmas time. She wanted to buy me some Christmas presents. And we're walking in the parking lot, and this dude goes, hey, fuck you, white boy. And I'm like, fuck you too. My mom was scared, like, oh my, what's happening? What? I said, Mom, that's a fan. That's a fan that likes us, right? So we ran the gambit. We ended up getting with another good fella, which was our track record. We got out of working with the first guy, started working with the second guy, and he didn't like White Trash. And he said, we're going to rebrand you. And he was from a steel city and was from, his father owned steel yards and everything. He said, I'm going to call you guys the Union. We're still going to be blue collar, but that's going to be you. The Union, to me, that kind of killed the gimmick. But two real quick stories about some other things that happened along the way. So White Trash actually was part of the first hip hop exhibit ever at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We have pictures in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame archives. They picked us as one of the top 5 groups in Cleveland. It was us, Hardstone, this little kid named King Steph, Q Nice, and somebody else. I forget the 5th one. But Rap Pages Magazine, Fox 8, 107.9, they all voted us for that, mainly because we had a song with Soulja Boy from Mo Thugs that was fire. But they had a concert. It was called Beats and Rhymes, and we were at Tri-C, And that became part of the first, it was in 1999. It was the first exhibit ever for hip hop at the Rock Hall. So I'm proud of that for that group. We toured all over the place. We opened up for Mace, 98 Degrees. We were on the Survival of the Illest tour with DMX for a few dates. Like, we did all kinds of stuff under that White Trash name. So we didn't know anything about paperwork, right? And nobody did. Nobody did. So we had the first manager we had a bunch of meetings, and he went to LaFace, and he met with an A&R at LaFace. And this dude was like, man, I love them. They just need to go back to Cleveland and work on a single. They really need a banger single. Okay, we'll take that. So, and this is water, by the way, don't accuse me. So we're sitting in the studio working with Mike Seifert that did Thug Mentality. He's a legendary producer. Working with Dave Matthews Band, Paul Simon, all these people. And he was actually the first guy that ever produced this. And we were the first group he ever produced for when he was 16. But so we're working with him, and we're looking through Source Magazine. And there's a full page ad for a dude called Poor White Trash. Our logo was drawn by our guy Paisan. It was a guy scratching the lid of a trash can, like a turntable.
Yeah.
Fire. This dude had like a pen and pixel, no limit graphic. And it was a guy scratching the top of a garbage can. While we were talking with LaFace, they said, if you could get features, who would you want? All of us immediately. CeeLo Green. We want CeeLo. This dude had a song with CeeLo. We had a song called Trailer Park Queen. He had Trailer Park Symphony. Like, everything was us.
Oh.
We had no way to stop it. This dude bombed horribly. He was not nearly what we were. So for all the gimmicks that we had and all the Trailer Park stuff, we could rap and we could sing and we could, our hooks, our songwriting was crazy. That was always my calling card. I can make hooks people remember. And that dude was about to steal all our stuff, and he did, and then he bombed. But that also was kind of the death of us. So we went with the Union. But the other thing that would have killed White Trash is this dude Eminem, because he took that and made it crazy. And I remember watching Hi, My Name Is and going, well, that's that. We can go and pack that up. That was a fun time, though. Do you like that? So, but the Union gave us a different route, and we weren't quite doing that. So many fun stories, dude. Sorry if this goes off the rails, but Stretch Armstrong had just come off of DJing for Eminem on tour. Mm-hmm. And he was doing a show at the Rhythm Room, which is now the Haunted House restaurant. I spent so much time there between those two, I practically lived it. But he's upstairs, but I didn't know he was upstairs yet. I didn't know he was there yet. So we're on stage, and I'm like, who thinks paying $20 to see a DJ stand up here is bullshit? Yeah. I'm like, here's a hint. Take $15, buy the CD, and then buy yourself a beer. Fuck that. We get done. Crowd loved us. This big security guy goes, hey, Stretch Armstrong wants to talk to you. The boys are like, I ain't going up there. You're the one that was running your mouth. I ain't scared. Let's go up there. So I go up there. He's sitting at the bar, and he turns around, and he's like, yo, I just wanted to tell you that was hilarious. Sometimes I feel the same way, too. I don't know why anyone would pay me to sit up there and play stuff when they could just go get the CD. But he was like, that was so fun. The crowd loved you. It was the best, dude. I just want to tell you that. Took our CD. We never heard from him again, but he thought that was great. So the guy that DJ'd for Eminem thought we were funny, and I think he probably thought we were cool because we weren't Eminem, you know. Right. But we switched to the Union. We had some success for the Union. The record label dissolved. It didn't end up going any further. We tried to do some solo stuff, and it just wasn't the same. You know, it just wasn't the same.
So is the Union where the song, I think, was it Yellowbird?
Yellowbirds was a White Trash thing.
Okay, so who do you remember who said they found it? They will listen to that song?
Absolutely, man. This is another one of those things that's crazy. So when we were White Trash at the very beginning of what we were doing, we went to every audition, every label, everything. Like they would come to town, they would have these open auditions. We go to everything. And there was an open audition at the Call and Post. So we went to the Call and Post. White Trash went to the Call and Post. And we met a gentleman and gave him a CD and didn't hear from him anymore. So 20 years later, we are in the studio doing an interview. And we're talking to MC Chill, who was the first guy from Cleveland to ever do anything with rap. He was signed to Fever Records out of New York. He was not only the first guy from Cleveland, he was the first guy from the Midwest that went to New York and was in the battles and winning the battles and had the respect and does not get the credit he deserves in Cleveland. That's a whole nother thing. But we're interviewing Chill. We're like, so what rappers do you like? He said, you know what? There was this guy a long time ago, and I still have the CD in my car, but it's this song called Yellowbirds. And I had an out-of-body experience. I'm like, huh? Like, do you know that's me? He was like, no. Like, he really didn't know. He really didn't know. So 20 years later, that was still his favorite song in Cleveland. So I was done after that. I was solid after that.
Now, this is my fourth show, I believe. Like, Probably. This is like my fourth show, and I'm sitting there is MC Chill. So I knew who MC Chill was because I did an internship at the Call and Post. So I knew who he was. It was Johnny O, and it was Silver B.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here, and this is all these legendary people just talking, right. And I'm sitting behind the thing, and I'm just like, damn, like this is amazing. And then he talks about you rapping.
Right.
At that point, I didn't know that you rap. Like I didn't know that you was like you had a whole career of white trashness. Like I didn't know any of that. So I was just like, oh man, like he was rapping. And so then like shortly after you said you showed me a song of you like currently rapping. I was just like, damn, like this dude is dope. Like I had no clue like all the history that I was sitting there. So that was an amazing experience. And so like again, I give you so much credit because you allowed me to be in spaces that I would have never been able to be in. And so it's so many different times and different occasions where special things has happened on the radio. I mean, we talked to Sean Price right before he passed away.
I think we were probably, if we weren't the last interview he did, we were one of the last few, because if you'll remember, that wasn't even a Sean Price interview. It was Illa G. Sean Price wasn't even on a press run. No. Like he was just hanging out with Illa. He was in between projects, so he wasn't. Yep. So if I had to guess, unless he hopped on some Illa G stuff,
we were the last one. So when I talked to Illa G, a couple of years ago, he was in Virginia. Me and Anthony went to the thing that Knots was doing.
Yeah,
and I ran into him, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm Soops. We were on the radio with you on Bubble and Blow." He was like, "Oh man, yeah, that was Sean P's last interview." I was like, okay, all right. So
I never knew that was coming. And if you remember, man, like I'll be honest with you, Sean P wasn't my favorite artist. I like listening to Sean P. I enjoyed it. I love the Boot Camp Click, but he was on my bucket list to interview.
Exactly.
I wanted to interview Sean P because he's so dynamic, and I loved him. Right. So, and by the way, we didn't really interview him. They started talking and shooting the dozens, and we listened and laughed. And then, all right, man, hey, thanks for calling in. New project, Illa G. And then we go on. But to have that moment, and these are the things, bro, I don't have copies of any of this. Hef asks me all the time, man, you got to copy this interview. The one he always wants is Lil Baby. And when I was on the Hef show and I interviewed Lil Baby, and I think I was the first person in Cleveland to interview Lil Baby.
Oh, and man, what was that?
I'm not interviewing Lil Baby. Is this what we're doing?
Ended up being Vince Staples, too.
Yeah, Vince Staples early. I was the second person in Cleveland to interview Cardi B. So, I mean, there was a lot of people like that came through.
Yeah, but how did she say your name?
Oh, she said my name right. For Q11, she said, DJ Quay 11. She said, Shugabooga and DJ Quay 11. Which I still have that drop because that's hilarious. But yeah, there were so many interviews I don't even have. And dude, I forget. Like, we had so many cool guests, especially on Buckle and Blow. We had the guests I liked. And we had so many of them, and I forget sometimes. If someone goes, did you interview him? Oh, yeah, I did. I forgot. And it's not out of disrespect for them. I have a really bad memory anyway. So when they kind of started to run together, the best part was when I was doing Bubble and Blow the first time, there was I forget Blog Talk Radio was an app, and you talked on your phone. And you called somebody and they talked on their phone and it got recorded. So I was literally in the basement of my house talking to legends on this phone in my basement. And it was
you talked to Turk either right after he
got
out?
I was the first Turk interview. I was the first Turk interview.
Man, that was a crazy interview.
Yeah, it was weird. And you look at where that all went after that. It's like, whoa, that got a little nutty. The craziest interview I did, and I think I've talked about this, I had Rod Digger coming on the show and Busy Bone. Same day. If you know anything about Busy Bone, it's chaos, right? Yeah. I had just hosted his tour, which is a whole nother series of hilarious stories. But I'm waiting for Busy Bone to call in. Rod Digger calls in at her right time. So I'm interviewing Rod Digger. Beautiful lady. Wonderful interview.
Was I there for? I was there for that.
No, I was in my basement.
Okay. All right.
Era. And I'm interviewing
that was MC Light. I'm sorry.
Yes, Light was there.
Yeah.
But we're in the basement, and all of a sudden, Busy Bone starts calling in. And he's late. But I can't really diss Busy Bone. I'm like, what am I going to do? So I threw this out there because she was cool. Hey, Rod, you know what? I hate to do this to you. Busy Bone was supposed to call in right before you. Can we just say hey to Busy Bone real quick and then come back and finish the interview because I'm having so much fun? Yeah, I don't care. Go ahead. I'm like, I can't believe she said that. So I put her on hold. Busy Bone chimes in. Now, this is when he said two of the greatest quotes I've ever heard in my life. Because, I like to do a Busy Bone impersonation. So he goes, I just want to tell y'all, this is Busy Bone, the American Marvin Gaye. I'm like, wait a minute. Pretty sure Marvin Gaye is American. I'm not sure. An interesting flex. And 2 minutes later, he goes, I'm from Bone Thugs and Harmony. We're the American Temptations. I'm like, again, Busy, I think you're missing how this goes. I don't think you're understanding how that works. So I get off the phone with Biz, who, by the way, has come a long way since those days. But Rod Digger comes back on and she says, was he high? I'm like, pretty sure he was, Rod. She was like, is something wrong with him? And I'm like, pretty sure there is, Rod. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is, but it was one of the funniest things I've been through. And she finished the interview like a champ. I couldn't believe she did that, I couldn't believe she did that. On the female MCs, too, one of my favorites ever was Gangsta Boo. And I had so much fun with Boo. We talked about eating Fruit Loops for a minute. And she was really good friends with the Kick Drums out of Cleveland. So we had fun with that. And then she passed away shortly, a couple years after that. But yeah, fun run. Dude, I'm like Fat Joe now. I'm like,
no. So this solidifies my stories. Because like people don't believe that we've talked to so many different people.
Dude.
And like, so I was always behind the scenes. Like I didn't get on Bubble and Blow until like the last year of the show or something like that. I forgot. I mean, I was there, but I was behind the scenes. Like I wasn't officially.
Dude, I just made you talk because I got tired of talking to myself.
That's true.
Like, sit down here, talk about this, and you did not want to do it, but it was very good. Here's the thing: you're talking about something you like.
I still don't want to do it.
Well, you have no choice now. But that's the thing: if you're talking about something you like, and dude, by the way, I listen to podcasts a lot, but I like entertainment, to be honest with you, wrestling podcasts. I listen to them all the time because they're entertaining. Natalie listens to like some of these like top 5 news of the day or like how-tos or like behind the scenes of bread, all this stuff. And I'm like, That is the most boring thing I've ever heard in my life. But to other people that like bread, greatest, she learns a lot, right? Like, for her craft. So even though we might think sometimes we're not the most entertaining or like, oh my God, we are, because there's other people who are like-minded. And again, that's the beauty of podcasts is you never realize how many people like the same things you like until you start listening to some podcasts.
I'm learning that, I'm learning that with this whole rap thing. Mm-hmm. I'm on people's rap. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. My Soops Kitchen's playlist has been on Apple Music's rap thing for people. And I'm just like 2 or 3 people have sent me like pictures of, hey, like you number 2 or you number 5 on my list. And I'm like, me? They like, oh yeah, I listen to your stuff all the time. And I'm just like, okay, it's starting to kind of hit, like people actually like what I do. So is it still?
You have some people that are very powerful and people that create and people that make the songs that you like, that like your playlist because they're finding other people that they like out of that. So I think that's incredible too.
I never, every time that comes, I'm still like a loss for words of that. Like, well, so when Hef told me the last time I saw Hef, he was like, man, I listen to your playlist all the time. I was like, you listen to my shit? Like, he was like, yeah, I listen to your stuff all the time. And I'm like, oh, that's because
you do something he doesn't. You have an ear for music that he doesn't. And there's a skill to that. So he's got different people to keep him plugged into different things. You keep him plugged into the underground music to kind of, I don't know what they call it now, neo soul, whatever they call it now, but that type of music that's out there that I don't know if it's lo-fi. I don't know what anyone calls anything anyway. But that type of music, he doesn't know.
Right.
But he wants to make money. So he's got to know who's hot. So
that's true.
He's got to have a pulse on that.
He would have been real good if he would have listened to me about Rhapsody and not Designer.
Would he though?
I was right.
Rhapsody is great. I enjoy Rhapsody. I think you know that. Doesn't make a whole lot of money off that. She does. I mean, I'm sure she's not.
Yeah. Nah, but she did. She was out the same time Designer was out.
Yeah.
And she has consistently grown and her music has been timeless from that moment. Designer, not so much. Designer's coming back out.
So here's what's going to happen with Designer, Mike. I don't know what his deal was. That's my thing. I don't know. I don't know what his publishing deal was, but that record was originally part of a Kanye record on an album that sold millions of copies.
That's true.
It went out as a single that sold millions of copies. Then he got the tour off it. Then he had other follow-up singles that weren't nearly as successful, but they sold off the basis of Panda. I would be willing to bet if his paperwork is right, he made just about as much off of that song maybe as Rhapsody's made off everything. I'd be willing to say it was close. I mean, I'm just saying, just off the Kanye royalty. So here's what he's going to be able to do that you see now. I went to the Cavs game the other day. Now, I know they've got a lot more hits, but Yin Yang Twins were the halftime performer.
Ain't nobody wants to
20 years from now, he's going to be doing Panda at throwback concerts. No. I bet you dollars to dimes, baby. He's going to be doing that. No. I'm telling you, Ray Shremmerd is going to go out and do the eardrummers are going to do their 2 songs.
Don't nobody want to hear that shit.
Mike, that was somebody's prom night.
I'm telling you, don't nobody
that was somebody's birthday party.
Okay, so
and that's the beauty of music.
So as you telling me Panda still gets the same energy that it got before?
No, there's a break.
And look, we had the break.
Didn't have it. There's a break where
but I'm saying we had the break. How long? When did Panda come out?
20 years. You got to give it. All these groups that are out now that are doing halftime shows all over the place haven't been hot for 20 years. Yin Yang had it going, but look at all these hip hop reunion tours, and there's always a few people on here like, oh, I like that one song. Dude, Montel Jordan did halftime at the Cavs game. Montel Jordan had 2 songs. You know how many performed at halftime? He did This Is How We Do It Cleveland mix for 15 minutes and got his check and left. Bye-bye.
I mean, that's a timeless record, though. Panda's not a timeless record.
I don't know that it's not. I still say I got broads in Atlanta all the time. People are like, where are you from, Atlanta? Oh, I got broads in Atlanta. I got two of them.
So
my passcode on my phone, and I don't care who knows it. I got nothing to hide. 1738 is still my lock thing on my phone.
So well, you know what?
Panda.
Nah, that nobody.
Mark my words. Well, let me ask you this. You're a promoter trying to make money, and you need 3 acts to do 5 minutes, do one song to open up for the headliners. So you got them. I can't even remember who was hot when Panda was out. I think it was probably Ray Shremmerd, and Migos probably had some hits at that time.
Yeah,
whatever.
Migos, Ray Shremmerd, Designer,
right.
Future.
So you need 3 acts that just need to come out and do a song a piece, right? Would you bring Rhapsody out, or would you bring Designer out?
I'll bring Rhapsody out.
Yeah, I know you would, and that's why you can't promote.
So who's
why you're not allowed to do.
Who's the headliner?
I'm saying if you had eardrummers or Future or Migos, whoever you want to put at the top. Let's say it was all 3 of them on a card, and then you needed like just a few quick acts to fill in to do a song or two. Because there's always.
I wouldn't do that to Rhapsody because that's not her crowd.
Exactly, because she didn't draw like they drew. So,
but it all depends on the crowd, though. Like, Rhapsody's not the biggest selling artist, but she's probably one of the dopest MCs around. So
no argument. I'm just saying when you talk about
I have to play to the crowd. Yeah, I got to play to the crowd.
What we said was, who's got a better chance 20 years from now of doing something like that? It's going to be Design. I saw Slum Village. You were there.
Mm-hmm.
Grog Shop. Great act.
Different.
150 people that loved it.
It's clear.
But if you put together a tour from that era, maybe you bring them out to do the one song. Maybe you do the one song. Maybe it depends on who they have. If it's a Talib Kweli show somewhere, but they're not going to be playing an arena. But I look at like the Hot Boys. By the way, I went to the Hot Boys show. The Bourbon. It was so much fun. So it opened up with Beanie, Freeway, State Property, and Dipset, I think, was it?
Was you backstage on this one?
No, we were just on the floor. But and then, dude, you forget how many Cash Money records listen, I was not a Cash Money head. I thought they made cool music. I made some songs that sounded like Cash Money because I knew it was a vibe. But I didn't like, although Juvenile's first album was really incredible. Anyway, I wasn't a huge guy for him. Never really was a huge Lil Wayne guy. I think he was behind me a little bit. But you go to that concert, and it was an hour and a half of bangers. Like, oh my God, I forgot that. Oh my God, I forgot that. This is the thing that comes out with a lot of artists too. I'm not saying this is going to be Designer with you, but there's so many groups that I go back now, or I'll put them on like a barbecue playlist that I didn't love then, but now I realize I know a lot of their music. Master P and No Limit is a great example. I did not like No Limit at all when they came out. I did not like
No Limit. No Limit was one of my favorites.
I hated No Limit.
Yeah, No Limit was my favorite.
Rap, I don't like this music. Their beats are whack. I'm done. Then I watched the verses and I knew every song. And I'm like, when did this happen to me? Like I'm like, why do I really enjoy
So No Limit actually won that verses, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing about verses. Yes, because there's always some moment that turns it on its head. Like when Master P, he was like, oh, I started this, and Master P, I don't know, I was doing this, and then they played Bout It. It's like, oh, they won. If you put the No Limit catalog against the Cash Money catalog, I have a hard time thinking that No Limit wins that battle very often.
Well, so in the early part of No Limit and the early part of Cash Money, it's No Limit. But then once you get Cash Money, Young Money, it's Cash Money all the way.
But once Manny Fresh became Manny Fresh, that was the wild card. Because nobody on No Limit, they weren't making hits. Like, they were the underground hood group. I'll give you that. They were making hits.
I don't know.
Make them say was their biggest success.
But No Limit had hits though. They had
underground hits.
I mean,
I tell you now, if you go back and look at the charts and look at the amount of like number ones that Cash Money had, and you add up the album sales.
So okay, if we going based on the numbers part,
yeah, I always go based on
so I don't go based off of the numbers. I'm going based off.
That's why Master P was a hood group. They were the hood. Cash Money was the white girls at the clubs, and the Medusa, not Medusa, God bless you, but the club music. So they were. It depends on who you were at that time. If you were in the trenches, you liked Master P. If you were trying to go to the club, you like
Cash Money.
They were different. Okay. So if they would have done that show in New Orleans, Master P would have destroyed him. Everybody says, why didn't you do it in New Orleans? Would have killed him. Wouldn't have been close. But when you do it on a national level,
I think if they did it and if they did the verses and it was No Limit, Cash Money in New Orleans, No Limit would have because No Limit got bounce. They have more bounce records, which is. That's the culture in
that's
New Orleans.
What I'm saying. They would have won big time. That's what I'm saying.
But No Limit did. From my understanding, I didn't watch it, but from my understanding, No Limit did win the verses.
They killed him because Master P said we did it first and played Bout It at the right. Versus is all about playing something at the right time and then winning an insult battle. Like Jadakiss's performance of Versus is my favorite ever because the timing of that freestyle was so perfect. He called them out for lip syncing and then hit that freestyle, and I get goosebumps. And there was nothing that Cameron was going to do. Now, again, Cameron, Jim Jones, they had a lot of hit records. They had a lot of hit records on the radio. Lox has been more of a traditionally underground group. Hit for hit, I don't know if the Lox has hit for hit.
No, they don't have.
Lyrically,
you can't outperform. You couldn't outperform the Lox.
No, and that's what I'm saying. So I think Versus during COVID, when it started, was supposed to be who's got the best catalog. I'm gonna play. They weren't performing it first. Who was it? RZA and Primo did the first one, I believe.
Yeah, they was playing song for song.
Yeah, I'll play this song. I'll play this song. When the live performance element came into it, it changed what it was. So again, if you're going catalog for catalog, Cash Money, I think, destroys No Limit in most arenas, not in New Orleans. And if Lil Wayne comes out, you're done. It's a wrap. You have no choice. You have no chance. But because they brought out Snoop to do,
But Snoop was on No Limit, so
I know, but that's their big weapon. If you don't tell them Wayne's coming,
Lil Wayne's not coming. He's not. He didn't do the Cash Money part.
I know that's what I'm saying, though. If he would have come out and been there and done his record with Cash Money, it's a wrap.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's true. But
that's like if you had D12 in a versus and they didn't bring out Eminem. Are they going to win? No. They bring Eminem out to do one song. They beat everybody because it's Eminem and everybody cheers when Eminem comes out. So I don't know. Versus is weird to me. But my point of all that was just to say, when we're talking about nostalgia music, and this is what I think we both love about music, but we have a different interpretation of it. Music at the end of the day is simply a memory that's attached to a sound. So there's all these memories, and that's why a guy like Designer, that we don't necessarily think is the greatest ever, is a memory attached to a sound that kids in that generation are going to associate with a time and place. Like I said, they're going to say, remember at homecoming and we were doing this and it was so fly and we had $5,000 in ones because our parents thought that was appropriate for our prom pictures. And remember that I got credit cards with scanners. They don't have Rhapsody memories. You do. They don't. So when it comes back to that nostalgia circuit, that's the people, like think back to you being, like when I think back to my homecomings and stuff, I went to Harvey High School, which is the most urban school in a non-urban place I can think of. So our homecoming, I remember Naughty by Nature, who I didn't love, but Naughty by Nature is one of those groups when I hear their music, takes me back to it. I probably like them better now than I did then. And I go back and listen to it now. I'm like, damn, that wasn't really that great. Man, did I like that. I like that beat. The Lost Boys.
Yeah.
I didn't listen to a whole lot of Lost Boys. But my first year in college, everything was Let's Cruise the Beamers and the Benz, like that everywhere you went. It's a time and a place. So eventually these kids, they might not think designer's the best ever, but they're going to wake up and be, oh, man, remember that? It's a memory. So,
I get it.
You know,
it still sucks, but I get it.
Like, let me tell you this. What is the first album that you ever listened to? Doesn't have to be hip hop, but you still remember the time and place when you heard it and how it made you feel.
So I got two.
Mm-hmm.
I got Simply Red. And I got Outkast Aquemini.
Okay.
So like Simply Red was like, that was my introduction of becoming a fan of just music, period. Like I thought
you were going to say white people.
No.
I was a fan of white people.
But that was like, I just instantly became a fan of just music. Because I was just listening, like everybody else is listening to Biggie and Pac and everything. Yeah. I'm listening to Simply Red. So like, that was like, okay, I'm a huge fan. But then Outkast Aquemini was like my introduction of lyricism, and like lyrics actually mean something. And it was liberation when I heard that. And I was like, man, I can be normal. Like I don't have to go out and be this thug or anything like that. I can just be whoever I want to be.
Yeah, you can wear mascot pants and a turban.
So that was
normal shit.
Like that was, I remember when I became a fan. I was at my granny and papa's house. I was sitting on the bed, had my headphones on, looking up at the ceiling. Liberation comes on, and it changed my whole world. And I was like, okay. So that album, like those two artists are for me shaped who I am, like musically and stuff. So like.
I was a senior in high school. I played tennis because I couldn't play. I wasn't good enough to play baseball, and I couldn't run track. So I was like, screw it, I'll play tennis. My best friend is a self-admitted nerd, one of the smartest dudes I ever met, and he played tennis. So I was like, I'll play with you, man. So we went and played. I had a couple friends on that team, and I'm in the back of a van going out to Geneva or somewhere. No, Ashtabula Harbor. We were going way out to Ashtabula. It was like an hour drive. And I had my Walkman, and my buddy Sean was like, hey, man, I just got this off my brother. Listen to it. And it was Nas Illmatic on the purple and yellow Memorex tape, right? And I put it in, and I listened to it the whole way out there, and I don't think I blinked. I'm like, this is the most incredible thing I've ever heard. Like, I've been through Rakim, and I knew a lot of people compared Nas to Rakim.
Yeah.
The complexity of what he was doing was so different. Right. And he was 20 years old. I'm 18. I'm like, this dude is 2 years older than me and has this depth, like blew me away. And I'll never forget what I felt like when I heard that album. And, you know, I've had a couple here and there. Life After Death, I remember listening to it in my bedroom when he died. I was home from the weekend from college, listened to it there. But that was because Biggie had died, not really because of the music. I wasn't like, oh my God. Right. So, you know, the one that always sticks out to me is Nas, and just thinking, man, that's what and Illmatic is still my favorite rap album of all time. Right. I think if aliens came down and you wanted them to explain rap music, I think you hand them Illmatic. So I don't know, that's just what it meant to me. So, and I think again, time and place. That doesn't remind me of hanging out at the beach with my friends. You know, Lords of the Underground does. We would play, Chief Rocka at the beach, and it reminds me of that time period. Nas reminds me of a whole different feeling. So I think, we have different artists for different things. Dude, if you look at my Spotify playlist, the recap, or iTunes, I don't listen to hardly any hip hop anymore. That wasn't something I already liked. I like listening to, De La I like a lot. I listen to a lot of the big artists.
You turn it into a white man.
I'm an old man. Like I started listening to Hove, and I just want to hear Hove, man. I don't want to hear nobody else. But it's funny because I started picking up on, I started listening to like Oasis and Champagne Supernova. You know who I got into, dude? I am not a country music guy, but Johnny Cash is the original gangster rap. Johnny Cash, I say it for real. He sang a song in prison about going to prison. A lot of people also don't know that Johnny Cash ran around with Bob Dylan and the hippies. Mm-hmm. Johnny Cash was for civil rights. He's got a song called The Man in Black where he talks about equality. And I'm not going to wear white suits while there's still people oppressed. I'm not doing that. Like, he was a cool dude. And I listen to his music, I'm like, damn, this dude couldn't sing, but he was kind of spitting like his dog, and I just see that. I'm
he was total opposite of Elvis.
Yes, dude. Total opposite. Yeah. Yes, sure. Total opposite. So I don't know. I've just gotten into other types of music. There's not a lot of new artists it's just not for me. And people always say, oh, why do we have to put an age on hip hop? It shouldn't be that way. Other genres aren't. And I would argue this to the death of me. Hip hop has always been about youth. The difference is the youth used to empower other youth. And they used to have a point to it, and they have lost any moral connection to the music now. It's gone. Very few young artists have it. Some do, very few, and they're not the ones selling records. So as it got older, we got older with it, but the kids below changed so much. Mm-hmm. They don't have respect for it. And that's why it changes. That's why it's not the same as everybody else. Young rock stars are like, man, I looked up to this artist and they inspired me so much and I appreciated the depth of the music. And hip hop guys like, who's De La Soul, man? Forget that. I don't want to listen to that old stuff. What do they know? They're no good. And they lose that. So the youth gatekeep hip hop. It's not the old heads, the youth.
So do you think it's because of how we look at it? Because we talk about the numbers a lot. So it's like when we talking about numbers, like this artist don't sell, like they're the essence of the culture and different things, but they don't sell records. Yep. And people don't look at that artist. Okay, so a prime example, we talked about Rhapsody.
It's the programming.
So
Nas proved with I Know I Can that you can make a truly positive hip hop record that could empower people. And that was the last, to me, I mean, I'm sure I'm missing some. To me, that was the last true empowerment record by a contemporary artist that really had that type of hit. And
I thought the J. Cole and Baby joint was that.
Maybe. I mean, and Lil Baby had one during COVID. Lil Baby had one that was a good record. Yeah. But you get one a year. And that's
one every so many years, not even just a year.
Yeah, it's the gatekeeping of it, and it's if it wasn't for that, Rhapsody would be a huge artist. I don't argue with that at all. You have a lot of artists right now that would sell if it was based on the quality of the music. Right. And if positive messaging was put through and negative images were shut down, NBA YoungBoy wouldn't be relevant, right? Like he would be gone. So, or he'd have to adapt and make different music. Right. So it is definitely the programming of it. And there's no way to get around it. I think we all know it. It is not a conspiracy. It is absolutely 100% real. Right. And it will never change. But now that's the beauty of what you do.
So I was about to say
a platform to people.
I was about to say that you've given a platform also. You and Chris Styles and, when you was on Nerve DJs, I saw you give a lot of opportunities to a whole lot of Cleveland artists that they would come through and you would do interviews with them and you would run them a little game on the music part of it too. And so, I'll never forget. I remember it like it was yesterday, but you talked to Preem DiBiase. Yeah. And I remember that conversation and how nervous he was about putting out music. And you talked to him and you talked to Puga. And it was those two artists I remember you talking to. Yeah. Even though Preem don't remember me, and that was hilarious. I was like, yo, you remember? Nah, I don't. I was like, all right, cool, bet. So,
he's honest.
So I was like, all right, cool. But I remember you sitting and talking to those guys about, just how the music game goes and everything. Yeah. And, you giving these guys an opportunity. Yeah. And with these platforms, I do believe we can get back to some type of how can I put it? Like, I believe we could get back to giving these artists opportunities and open up and making the platform bigger so people can do what they want to do. You know.
But let me speak on that for a second. On the name. Well, first of all, Preem has become one of my very good friends. Preem, he's putting out a cigar line. I'm helping to promote the cigar line. Africa is right down the street, so I run up and run around with him at Africa. He's always done anything I want him to do for kids programs. And I can't say enough good things about Preem. He is a good dude. Me and Pooh Gutta are probably the most unlikely of friends you could ever imagine. But we were at that Cash Money show, and Pooh was 2 rows in front of us on the floor. And he looked back and saw me, and he stood up on the seat. And he's like, I love that man. That's my dude. I love that man. Standing up, I'm like, oh, Pooh. So I did help them, and Pooh was really nervous about On Mommy, which was his record. And I liked it.
That's still my favorite song.
That's his style now. That's what he does now. But here's what I would say to our talk that we were having. And in context of that, I did some things for Pooh and for Preem and played their music. That's not the type of artist that we're talking about. They don't make positive music. They make great music. They make great music. Preem has hits all the time.
Right.
That's not what we're talking about. They get their pub anyways. 107.9 will play Preem, not in rotation. He's in rotation in other states. You should see his spins and what comes in for him. And I've been to Preem's house, and let me tell you, it is very nice. He's making money off of music.
So now at the time, though, they were fresh. They were new. So what I'm saying is, like, you gave them an opportunity when others didn't. So
I wouldn't say that because, dude, you're forgetting about Pooh's run with Royalty Camp.
Well,
Pooh could already run through the city, dude.
But okay, so on the On Mommy joint, who played that? Y'all broke that record.
That Floss had played it a time or two, I think. But
you broke it first.
I probably did.
You broke it first. Okay. Like, it was an exclusive song that got played. Nobody heard it until you played it. So
that's fair.
You had
a probably wouldn't have put it out if you're like, oh no, Pooh. He probably wouldn't have put it out.
So you have a platform that gives people opportunities that don't necessarily have the opportunity to get to those bigger markets and those bigger.
Let me give you some that might be a better one. Mookie Motonio and Nova the Rebel. I don't know if you listen. Have you heard the song that Nova put out that has all the black leaders in it?
No, I haven't heard.
And they're playing it in schools to teach kids about black historical figures. Look it up. This song is incredible, and Nova is incredible. Nova was an underground rock.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I always played Nova. I featured him everything I could. Everything I could do for Nova, I did because I believed him. And when I see him at different events, like I saw him at the Bone Show, I've seen him a couple times with Crazy, and he will always tell you, dude, you believed in me and you always put me on there and you always got me opportunities. That's the type of guys we're talking about, really, when we're saying, and he's gotten to go, he got on with Crazy. People say what they want to about Bone. They would say, they don't put anybody on. But Crazy takes Mookie Motonio, Nova the Rebel, and my guy Kane everywhere he goes all over the world. They have performed in countries all over the world. They have legit fan bases all over the world. People in Cleveland are so myopic. They don't look at that. They don't understand there's a world outside of Cleveland. So they don't see that. And Kane the other night brought up too, he's like, you did my first ever interview. Like he was like, yeah, you did my first, and it was the one that I did for Scene magazine about him and Crazy when I was writing for Scene was his first time anybody ever interviewed. So that
was, I didn't have all the names, but that's what I'm talking about with as far as you've created a platform that has given opportunities to so many people. And even so, as you talked about, like, just people, like how things happen all over the world and stuff. Polly Rob comes to like that comes to my mind of like he was somebody that had to leave Cleveland and boom, he took off. It was like,
Right.
okay, so like that
I
kind of
just saw him working with somebody crazy this week.
I know he's working with a couple of people. One of my favorites that he's working with is Osby Chill. So like he's working with him. Yeah. And he's working. I cannot think.
Somebody crazy. I don't know. Somebody crazy.
But Polly Rob he doing his thing. Like that dude is amazing, and I appreciate him liking what I do and reaching out and saying, "Yo, hey, I got this," and so he's next on this interview run that I'm doing. But that was crazy. But what I also wanted to come back to is you talked about your city a little bit, and you created a brand around your city.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on this brand?
So I'm from Painesville. Painesville is 18 miles east of Cleveland. Painesville is in Lake County, which is very white, very Republican, a little Trumpy. Not quite as Trumpy as some other place, but it is. And Painesville City right now is predominantly Mexican people. My son's graduating class was like 75% Mexican. But it's like when we tried to get into a sports conference back in the early 90s, they wouldn't let us in because we were too violent and caused too many fights. And it was because we had black people at our school and they didn't want them playing. So where I grew up, if I would have grown up anywhere else around me, my life would be completely different. I wouldn't be doing this stuff in hip hop. I wouldn't have had all these opportunities, but Painesville raised me. So I have never stopped. When I started rapping, I made it a point. I'm not going to tell people I'm from Cleveland. I am from Painesville. So even if I went out to California doing shows or Texas doing shows, I'm from Painesville, Ohio. Where's that? Oh, it's by Cleveland. We started going to Cleveland with the Hood Factor, and people would be like, I didn't know they had black people in Painesville. Well, yeah, dude, we're not Painesville Township. We're Painesville City. So that has changed a lot now. But everybody called Painesville the Ville. And I told him, dude, Glenville is always going to be the Ville. You are in the Cleveland area. You are never going to be bigger than Glenville. You can't. So let's get off the Ville and let's change. So Painesville City, let's change it to Ville City. So people started to catch on with it. And then I made a line of clothes that said Ville City Raiders instead of the Harvey Red Raiders. And people went nuts for it and bought a bunch. I donated all the money back to the schools. And then my greatest honor is Painesville has a great Pee Wee football foundation. They've put people like Jalen Anderson, who was playing for WVU. Now he plays for North Dakota State. My guy, Sean Alston, who's going to USC next year, number 4 running back in the country. We got a whole bunch of Division I guys that started in that youth league, and they used to be called the Lake County Storm or something, like Lake Erie College. And I got the call one day, and they said, hey, you made Ville City, right? I'm like, yeah. They're like, do you care if we name the Pee Wee team the Ville City Raiders now? And I'm like, this is crazy. So like they have the Ville City Raiders uniforms when they come out. That generation is going to be heavy on Ville City because that's what they play. Right. And it is the greatest compliment I could ever have. So, and it's just about having the city's back when no one does. We haven't had a lot of successful people out of Painesville. People considered me a big success, even though I'm not rich and I'm not internationally known or anything like that, just because I did something in a field where nobody had ever done it. You know, we've got a couple kids now playing pro sports. They're always going to be heroes because you didn't think you could do it. We've got a guy who is the number 1 pediatrician in the Cleveland Clinic system working with kids. People didn't think you could do that. We're white trash. That's where we're from. So it just becomes, you know, one of those things where I want to be a part of the identity of that city. So I got the Citizen of the Year in 2019. And we had a situation for real with some Mexican kids that got harassed by the police. And I happen to be friends with the people from the OLA committee and the police chief. I have a good relationship with both of them. The police chief was really cool when we had Black Lives Matter Lake County and wanted to implement some things. So they consulted me on a conference call. Who am I? You know, I'm nobody. With the city manager, the chief of police, and OLA, and they wanted me to help mediate a tense situation. And there was another time we had a murder in the city, and the police chief called me and said, what do I do? what do I say? He's like, I know these families. And he does, but he was like, you know, these families too. What do I say? You know? So we walked through a statement that he put. I'm like, there's nothing you're going to say to make this better, but here's how you kind of can. So a lot of times it's just when you're the one talking, people listen, you know, and just saying a different thing. But Painesville is always going to be important to me. I love it to death. You know, it's one of those places that a lot of people talk about, and you know, we'll talk bad about it, but I better never hear nobody say bad about it, right? That's the way it is. You know? So, yeah. So I want to say something real quick that I just thought about, because we forget people. I forget people. You got the new De La album.
Mm-hmm.
Yummy Bingham.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember all the interactions we had with Yummy Bingham?
No, I don't.
Do you remember Rufus Black?
Yes.
So Rufus Black had some hits back in that. Yeah, it's party time. Well, so me and Rufus through the show became really cool friends, and he was married to Yummy Bingham, and they had a baby together, and we were on the radio while she was pregnant, and me and Rufus became really good friends, and he would FaceTime me with Yummy, and we would talk, and we talk about the baby. The baby was born. They FaceTime me with the baby so I could see the baby, and they got divorced at somewhere along the line. They're not together now, and I guess I lost them in the divorce. I don't know what happened. I talked to them in a minute, but yeah, then Yummy pops up all over that De La album. Like, this is incredible. Dude.
Yeah, she's everywhere. She's been on De La's album. So yes, okay, I do remember.
Yeah,
because I do believe he was on the show, and Yummy jumped on and just to say hi real quick, and I was like, oh shit! Like, I love you on the De La Soul album. So okay, I remember.
And he was working with Faith Evans.
Oh yes,
he got us an interview. He was at the studio with Faith, and we got an interview with Faith too. Often.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. We've had so many different interactions with artists. My biggest one that I remember is the night that we talked to Nick Grant, Skyzoo, and Slum Village, I believe.
Dude, that is your mecca.
I was your
holy grail.
I wasn't even talking on the radio at that point. Like, I wasn't even doing interviews at that point, but I was just on cloud nine because I was just like, yo, I'm finally talking to people I love. And so it was that. But I remember that. I remember B.O.B. coming to the studio.
That was fun.
It wasn't, because Dude said he didn't believe that there were slave ships, and I was so mad. And y'all told me not to say nothing. Y'all said don't say.
Listen, if Kyrie Irving came in, we wouldn't talk about the flat Earth theory. Like,
I was like, hey, no, man. Like, he right here. So I'm like, all right. When Vince Staples came in, that was a different. I was a huge fan of Vince Staples, and y'all was just like, nah.
No, I like Vince Staples too. He just wasn't very fun. Yeah. I think Vince was tired. I think Vince didn't want to be there. I don't think.
But if you look at Vince now, like if you look at him today, like that's him. Like the way he was, like that was just him. Yeah. But it was so early on, like it was I think it was his first album or something like that when we talked to him.
It was that that North Side song that I like.
Yeah, so it was like early.
Yeah,
but we got so many stories.
Different today, dude. I don't know. He's probably more used to doing interviews now, and
right.
You know,
but we got so many stories. We even got a story with the chicken dude. We had to go get him chicken and he didn't perform.
Oh my God, Dave East.
Yeah. So we got that story. Me, you, and Wallace going to go find some chicken and a bottle of Hennessy.
Wallace didn't even go. He sent us to go.
He went with us.
Was Wallace in there?
Yeah, he was in the back seat. Wallace,
where are we going to get chicken, bro? It's 10 o'clock at night. He's like, he's going to leave if you don't get chicken. I think he left anyway.
He left anyway. He didn't perform. He didn't perform. He got the chicken. We got the chicken. He had his bottle of hen, and he still didn't perform.
There was no one there. I mean, but then again, in Dave East, there's no one there. Take a hint. I don't know. I like Dave East, but
But there was so many
we did have a lot of fun. There were a lot of ones. Who's the other kid? Not BJ, the Chicago kid. The other rapper from Chicago.
I don't know.
Real serious dude. Vic Mensa.
Vic Mensa.
That was another hard interview.
I don't remember.
Vic Mensa was not fun to interview, but I love his music.
Was that the one that you hung up on and then he called back?
I can't remember who that was.
Cause he was real rude. Like he was talking
a Puerto Rican dude.
Yeah,
I always think it was Rock Marciano, but I think it was before Rock Marciano.
It wasn't Rock.
I'm interviewing this dude, and I'm trying to talk to him. Everything is a one-word answer. He's not responding to me. And I eventually just hung up. I said, all right, man, have a good night. And I hung up on him. 2 seconds later, he's calling Mike back. Hey, man, we got disconnected. Mike's like, I don't know, man. I think he just wasn't feeling the interview. But can I get back on? I don't know. Sure, you want to get him back on? Yeah, put him back on. Completely different interview.
Yeah,
so
completely different.
I think if we remember, I think what happened is he had his baby with him or something.
Yeah, he said he had his kid.
He was just distracted.
He had his kid and stuff. Yeah, so it was different. But
so he came back.
But again, okay, so you get that, but then you get MC Light. We interviewed MC Light right when she was getting ready to do her practice for the BET Awards. Yes. When she was she was just starting to do that stuff. And we got one of the greatest interviews with MC Light. So you talking about MC Light getting ready to go and she's got all this stuff going on and she gives us a great 15, 20-minute interview and you just got your baby and we don't even know who you are and you being rude. Like, nah, we...
Oh, dude. You know what? The other interview that was so uncomfortable, but now I look back and it's one of my favorites. I interviewed Action Bronson, and this was when he had the Def Jam album out, and he was my favorite artist. Favorite. Did you go to the Action Bronson show with me? Yeah. Where he threw the big screen into the crowd? He threw that big screen TV out into the crowd?
No, I ain't go to that one.
The only one I went to, I think you did.
So if he did, I don't remember that.
Yeah, he threw a big screen out. Anyways, I'm interviewing him on the Nerd DJs conference call. And this dude, everything I said, he'd go, I'm just trying to feed my babies. How's the new album? Oh, I'm just trying to feed my babies. What was it like working with this producer, man? What an opportunity. You really got to step up. Yeah, I'm just trying to feed my babies. For 5-6 minutes. And then I'm like, all right, Action, I'll let you go. He didn't have any kids, Mike.
No.
He was just being Action Bronson. And I was so mad because I'm like, dude, you're my favorite. I was so excited. And then you do this. And now I'm like, that was a classic. Like, that's a great Action Bronson interview. Now I appreciate it. You know what I mean?
So was that before the Ghostface incident or after the Ghostface?
Yeah, that was before the Ghostface. This is when he was riding high.
So when Ghostface came at him, you was just like, you didn't care? Like you was...
No, not that I didn't care. I thought that was a weird... Action Bronson just got tired of it and said something stupid. I don't think he meant to be... I think he just said something stupid to get people to stop talking about it. And it backfired because it was a stupid thing to say. But you ask Ghostface now, he's like, he wasn't trying to sound like me. That's what his voice sounds like. Like, what's he supposed to do? Listen to him. That's how he talks.
No, but that's not what he was feeling.
Well, why would he? It's Ghostface, who, by the way, I think is the most scary dude in hip hop. He's the dude I would never mess with. Is Ghostface. I would never mess with.
But then, like, you would think that, but then you listen to him on a song with El Mine, and you like, I just do this soft. Like Ghostface.
He can make a music. He can make a song with Yo-Yo Ma on the cello. I'd still think he's the scariest. It's a scary dude.
I think I would like to see you and Ghostface do an interview at some point.
I think we'd have fun, man. I really would like to do that. That would be a fun interview.
So here's when we were talking about the city. I was trying to get to your brand. Your Ville City brand is a marketing firm that you have. Right. Can you let people know, like, how did you start that?
Well,
hold on, just real quick. You see how easily we can get off track. Like, this is us on when we was on radio, we would get off track on everything. Like,
it's horrible podcast. We just go off on people like, who cares? It's Fat Joe. Like, yo, MC Light. You think I didn't interview MC? She told me it's like Trump and Fat Joe combined. That was the greatest interview. She said I was bigly interviewing. Like it's them combined. I'm like,
we get so off track real quick, but this is our conversations. Like our conversations will go from we talking about one thing and then it's a whole nother thing. Like this is our so this is us. But
I have fun because nobody ever interviews me. And I'm not a guy, honestly, I'm not a guy that brags about stuff a lot. I'm not a guy that really talks about a lot. Like I haven't talked about some of these people I've interviewed ever because I just did it. And to me, it's kind of like, well, that's what you do. You interview people. Right. So what? But Bill City branding. So this is an interesting story. So I have always been a person that for my detriment and my betterment says, if you don't like a job or a situation, you quit. You give it a good chance, you try it, and then if you don't like it, it's making you miserable, life is too short. So you and I worked together at a bank, and I worked there for way too long. 13 years. I hated it every day. It was a place that said, you'll never do better than this. This is all you're ever going to be. You've got health insurance. You should be happy, right? And eventually I got tired of it. And I got a job selling medical equipment. Worked for a guy that was really dynamic that I looked up to growing up. And it was exciting. I got to travel and I sucked at it. I didn't make any money. I was supposed to make all kinds of money, didn't make any money. I'm not good at sales. So I'm at my job one day and I'm like, I'm quitting this job. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I got to get out of here. So I go on LinkedIn or somewhere and I see an ad that says we need a content writer for a company, for a digital marketing company.
Right.
So I'm like, well, I've written for a couple of different blogs, a couple of different hip hop blogs, Scene Magazine. I can write. I know how to write, content writer. I can do that. So I interviewed with this company and I did well. They brought me back and they said, you are the least qualified person we've talked to, but there's something about you we want to give you a shot. So they gave me this thing. They said, here are 8 writing prompts. You need to follow these prompts, write the story, the assignments as you have them, give them back. So I turned them in the next day. And they said, we wanted to talk to you. Do you feel confident in what you turned in? I said, why? Does it suck? They're like, well, we haven't looked at it yet. It's just that most people take a week to do this. So you get it overnight. And I was like, well, I don't know if I'm good or bad. So if it's not good, tell me that. I chalk it up. I got nothing to lose. Just read it. Tell me what you think. So they called me back a few days later. They were like, there's a lot of grammar errors. There's a lot of attention to detail that you're missing, typos and stuff. But you were so fast, we can deal with that. But also you had the best writing samples we received out of 200 people. And you did it overnight. I'm like, okay. Well, what I didn't know is there's more to content writing than just writing. It's about SEO and Google algorithms and stuff. Right. But whatever. So I'm there and they had me doing some social media work without getting too far. I'm getting off the track, but had me doing some social media work. And I hated how they did social media because it was cookie cutter. And I was doing meme type stuff. And they said, you can't do that. That's against trademark laws. Well, now we know nobody cares about that. Doesn't matter. I was ahead of the curve. I knew it was coming. They didn't. They were so vanilla. So during COVID, they let me go. Thank God. Mainly because I worked with Black Lives Matter Lake County, and the guy that owned that agency worked with the sheriff's department in Geauga County, and the sheriff's department of Geauga County was very pro-Trump and didn't want people protesting. Mm-hmm. And they magically didn't have work for me anymore and let me go, whatever. So then I picked up a Co-Creative, which is a Black-owned agency in downtown Cleveland, some of the most talented people I've ever met. And I got to work with the NAACP and different PACs and some Black brands, around the city. Mm-hmm. And that made me feel creative again. But they had me in a account management role. So I was mainly just there to push paper and get accounts. I wasn't really there to be creative. That company dissolved too. They just went out of business. So now I'm on my own. I'm thinking I had such a cool schedule. I came and went as I wanted to. I'm like, I cannot go back to working. I can't have a job. So I started my social media management company. That's all I do. I primarily do Facebook and Instagram. I don't get into a bunch of the different modules because I feel they're better for business. And I said, I just want to do small businesses. And I just want to do organic content. I want to work with people that can't afford an agency. And I want to work on my terms when I want to. And currently I've got 7 clients. I'm about to pick up 8 and 9 this month. It is a lot of work to do it by yourself. But it is a lot of fun. I love my clients. They make me feel like I'm a part of their company, and I get to be creative all the time. Like the ads you're talking about with the music is for Jackpot Street Food and Jackpot Go, which are fun pop culture outlets for food. But then I do a retirement company that is boring content to tell you that themselves. Nobody pays attention to it, but it's still good for their branding. I worked with Edwin's for a long time, a nonprofit. I've done stuff for a couple of nonprofits, and it's just people I like to work with. I've never, this is a great thing too, I have never had to market for a client. I've tried marketing and doing sales and stuff, but every client I have is a referral or somebody I know. I've never had to go outside my circle. So that makes it great too, because there's trust and they know what I do. So yeah, Ville City branding is fun, man. I've really enjoyed having it, and I can't do it. If I have to get a real job again, I'm going to jump off a bridge. Can't do it.
So that's what I really wanted to talk to you about that, because based on everything that we talked about, everything that you've done has led you to this point.
Yeah.
All of the MCing and the hosting and all of these different things that you've been able to dip your toes in, or whatever you want to, however you want to say it, led you to being this great marketing, person that you are. Just the way that you market things, it makes you want to go and just, let me go try this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've marketed a couple of,
let's hope.
Yeah, like you marketed a couple of food spots, and I'm like, yo, we gotta go try this. Like, this looks
where
good.
it comes from though, dude? So I had a client that moved away from working with me, which happens all the time. It happens in every industry, but I look at who they're working with now, and I talk to them sometimes, and they have a lot of events-based stuff. Moved on to a different person, and she's a younger girl who makes a lot of content that goes big. She'll get a viral that I get 100,000 views, right? I never got 100,000. No, I think I did get 100,000 for them once or twice, but it's like pretty regular for her. She hits the algorithm.
Right.
They can't sell tickets to their events because she doesn't know how to market that. She makes them no money. So I tell my clients all the time, you're not going to get 1 million followers. We're not going to go viral. We're going to make money.
Right.
Because ask you this, if 1 million people saw a Jackpot Street Food reel and said, I want to go try Jackpot Street Food, most of them don't live close enough to go.
True.
And so if 1% of 1 million, which I believe is 10,000-ish, whatever.
So I don't know.
If 10,000 people showed up at Jackpot Street Food tomorrow, they'd go out of business. Couldn't do it. They couldn't manage it. So do you need to go viral? Do you want to go viral, or do you want to have 2,000 followers in your city that will actually come spend money that care? So that's one of the things, like, I think that's one thing you see with social media marketing is everybody wants to go viral. I see so many restaurants that have a funny video that aren't anywhere near me. I'm never going to go to the restaurant. I see a bunch that have funny videos that showcase their workers. And I do a lot of that with Jackpot. I think it's cool, especially if you want to hire people. Great to show the culture. Doesn't make me want to go try their food.
Right.
Why am I doing that? To go viral. So I come from, and again, with hip hop, we were hand to hand. When White Trash was doing shows, we rent out a hall, like a party hall somewhere. And we'd have us, 71 North, sometimes DSU that did the You Ride song. Yeah. They'd come out with us. We would print up flyers, black and white flyers on a Xerox machine at Office Max, and we would go hand to hand and pass them out. And we'd give them a reason to come see us. And we would give them whatever we could to give them. Like we did that. I was hand to hand convincing people to come. That's all social media marketing is. It's still hand to hand. Put something in front of them they want to do. You don't care if 55 people in Cincinnati get your flyer that aren't coming to your show. Who cares? You know, we didn't hop in our car and drive to Toledo to pass out flyers for a show in Painesville. The same thing. You know, you promote to the people you're with, you know. So yeah, you're right. It has all led to this point. A lot of what I do now, like I said before, I do a ton of fundraising events. That's my heart now. I don't care about hosting concerts. I really don't. I can't, like what Crisis does is great. I can't do the crowds that he does. I don't know the music. I don't enjoy the music. I do not care. I don't want to. If they call me tomorrow and said, come host this Big XL The Plug show, I'm not. I don't know his music. I can't relate. No. But I'll go host a fundraiser. Quick story. Big XL The Plug came to Cleveland. Hef was the first guy to bring him to Cleveland. Hef invites me to meet Big XL The Plug. I call him, I do Ben Hot Beats. Hot, man, I guess there's a new artist over here. They're having a meet and greet. You want to go meet him? Yeah, I'll come out. Somewhere over on St. Clair, me and Hot pull into the parking lot, and there's two security people walking around with AR-15s in the parking lot. I immediately got back in my car. I called him from my phone. I said, Hot, I am too old for this shit. Hot said, me too. And we run around the corner and had a beer. Turns out, great time. Johnny O went up there. He had a great time. I was like, I'm glad you did. I am never going in there. Hef's like, Shug, you used to be the one of the. Yeah, I know I used to be, but I am not. I do not want my obituary to say 50-year-old dude gets shot in a parking lot going to meet a 21-year-old kid from. I'm not doing it. Not doing it.
Yeah, so, and I know Ben Hot. I know he was on the same. Like, nah.
Nah, bro. Nah, bro.
So
yeah, we were out.
And it's funny that I've got friends from your friend group, like Ben Hot and Jinx. Like those guys are hilarious. But so I just wanted to, like, this has been an amazing experience. We've talked about a whole lot. And it's so much more to talk about, and that only just makes you come back again. And just maybe, we can actually bring back an episode maybe once a month. You know,
dude, I'd have fun doing it. I'll talk your left eye lazy, but I would enjoy it.
Like we could get back into doing what we used to do, because we was the original debaters. Like I debated you. And I
would be down to do that.
Yeah, I'm down for it.
I got to show you something real quick that nobody outside of Cleveland is going to know. Going to go to work. So I went. This is not a soft flex. My girlfriend is a chef for the Cavs. I got to go to Max Struess's charity event today. That was a bowling thing. All the Cavs were there. They got some incredibly cool guys on that team. Yeah. There were some local guys. Ricky Smith was down there. Free from Zanzibar, my buddy. We were having a good time. And then Tim Misney comes up. He will make them pay. I'm talking to Ahmad Crump, who's the on-court guy for the Cavs. We're both hosts. We have a lot of fun talking about experience with that. Tim Misney cuts us off. Hi, I'm Tim. What's up, dude? Like, cool. So Natalie's there. She's a chef. He starts talking about food with her, blah, blah, blah. So Max Strus goes, dude, you guys were talking to Tim for a long time. We're like, yeah, we were. He goes, well, Tim wanted to help with the fundraiser. So Max goes, I figured he was going to donate some money. Mm-hmm. But instead, Tim brought 130 of these Tim Misney wall clocks and said, you can give them out. So I took home a Tim Misney wall clock, which I'm very tempted to put on a chain and we're in the Cavs games. But that is iconic in Cleveland. And I am one of 130 people. Word is that he puts these in his car and will just give them out to random people at different places. Incredibly nice guy. Very nice guy. But this is the only dude possibly more vain than me. I will put my face on anything. I will give you anything with my face on it. But this is next level.
Face of the franchise? I forgot that name. Face of the franchise.
Baby. The face. Shugabooga. But so
I didn't realize Max Strus was short. Like,
he is not short.
Him and Natalie is about the same height.
No, he was crouching down a little bit. That dude's like 6'5", maybe 6'4", 6'5".
Oh, okay, all right.
Tall, dude. It doesn't
When I saw the picture, because I'm like, Natalie is standing like right here with him. I'm like, oh, okay.
No,
right, so
everybody except for Craig Porter Donovan and Darius are pretty tall. They're the only ones.
All right.
Craig Porter, I tower over, which makes me respect him getting rebounds the way he does and getting in the lane the way he does, because he is not a big dude. And I really respect him.
I've seen him before. I've seen him
Sorry
before.
to all our fans in Boston and New York. You're not going to care about our Cavs talk, but tune in next week.
No.
We'll talk about Ray Benzino.
This has been a great experience. Please let everybody know how they can get in contact with you, your brand, and all social media.
Don't. Leave me alone. I don't want to talk to anyone.
You got to plug it.
You know, social media wise, you know, I do have a social media site for my brand, but I never check it because I have to work on everybody else's. So to follow me, to see some fun stuff, you know, I do a lot of cool stuff I get to talk about. It's Shugabooga 440 on Instagram, SHUGABOOGA 440. And then, you know, Facebook, don't worry about it because nobody uses it. And you can put me on X, but I don't have a following there because I don't care about that either. So just follow me on Instagram. Are you
on Threads? Are you on?
No, I don't do anything. Not on anything. I don't do.
You're legit becoming an old man. Like I didn't think I would ever see this.
I know. I still, dude. If you look at my Instagram, my Facebook, I'm everywhere. But if I was marketing something currently, I would. Like I said, for my business, I haven't had to market anything, so I have no reason to be there. And again, I spend. If you look at my screen time is about 9 hours a day. And I am on there 9 hours a day creating content for other people. So at the end of the night, I don't want to do any content. I'm done doing content. I don't want any part of it. You know, it's like a chef coming home and cooking. When Natalie comes home, she don't want to cook. It's the last thing she wants to do.
That's true. That's true. I get it. Because when I used to work at the GameStop, it was EB Games, GameStop. I didn't want to see or hear a game when I got home. Like I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. So yeah, I get it. But,
and with me, it's even worse because I literally, when I work, this is one of the perks of the job. I sit in my recliner in my basement. I turn on my TV, usually Joe and Jada or something. My dog's in the recliner next to me, and I work in that chair for hours on end. So when I get done, if I'm working on my own stuff in that chair, it's like a prison. I'm like, oh my God, I can't do it. Like, where am I? I'm stuck and I'm trapped. But you know, I will say this, and I know nobody really cares at this point. They probably already stopped listening to me, but I get to do a lot of cool stuff. I really do. And I get to do a lot of stuff. 50-year-old white dudes that haven't really been relevant in a few years doing things. I get to do stuff I probably shouldn't get to do a lot of times. Now Natalie's got a cool job. I get to do stuff with her, and it's kind of a charmed life. I am not rich. You know, I have incredible, like I said, my mental health stuff. I'm a big advocate for getting checked out and getting help because it's changed my life. But I go through bouts of depression and bouts of, anger and all kinds of stuff like you do. But, you know, I will say this, and this was my advice to my son, and I still believe this. If something isn't making you happy, don't stick around. Whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, don't stick around. Follow your dreams. But your dreams might not be what works for you. So like we were talking a little bit ago, your dream might be to be an MC. But find out what your passion is and go for that. Your dream is probably related to your passion. So shoot for the passion, not the dream. Shoot for that, not the dream. Find out what you're really passionate about and do that. You know, and do everything. When I was young, I know this is going on, but when I was young, I wanted to be a famous rapper. I didn't get to be a famous rapper, but I got to have a lot of fun. I got to go on tours, and I got to meet a bunch of rappers, and I got to do songs with rappers. And then I said, but the other thing, I've got a book of all the things I wanted to do my senior year in high school. I said, I want to be on the radio too. Got to do some radio stuff. Wasn't national, but, well, I take that back. We did some national syndicated stuff, like Head Crack, who I met through our show, and Big Hef, I talked to Head Crack at least once a week. That's my dude. He's my mentor. He gave me his radio agent's phone number and said, call him up and see what he get. Like, that's my dude. So I did get taste of radio. I wanted to be in movies. I've never been a big movie star, but I got to do a couple little local movies and have fun with that. So think about your passions, realize that your dreams might not be there, but if you reach your passion, then you've done what you wanted to do. You know?
So that right there is why I created Soup's Kitchen. I remember, I never forget you. You told me this before. Yeah. You said chase your passion. If you don't like something, chase your passion. Yes. And I would be at the radio station. I would do the Hef Show, the Vanity Star, and then Bubble and Blow. And y'all never played the music I enjoyed. And I'd just be sitting back, just be like, man,
play let this, it be known.
And I would. And you was like, well, why don't you just do your own thing?
Right.
And I was just like, nah, I don't know how to do that. And then I'm sitting there, I'm working with the software. Like I'm sitting there and I'm learning. I'm like, yeah, let me try this. And I created Soup's Kitchen. And like Soup's Kitchen became because of
brand.
It was because of you. Like you said, chase your passion. Do what you like. Like do something that you like. Man, because I saw you go in and do it, like you had a guy that you worked with that was getting you all of these national interviews. Yes. Unfortunately, he was a racist asshole, but you worked with that guy, and I watched you go from I watched you go from about to being like the guy, like you was about to take this off to, you know what? I can't work with an asshole like this. So you stopped and you started getting your own interviews and, you know, doing it like that. So I watched that, and I watched how you would just do everything that you put your mind to and say, you know what? I want to go do this. You guys went to South by Southwest. Like you guys did amazing things. Y'all went up to Chicago, to New York to go to serious. So I got a chance to watch you create like things that was amazing. So like you gave me that inspiration to do what I'm doing today. And so like if people are watching this and they heard what you said, take what he's saying serious, because it can't take you somewhere.
And you know what, the thing that you're talking about there is something that people are so surprised when I say this, because I'm an extrovert, so I'm loud. I'm always the life of the party. That is something that's very ADHD for sure. Outspoken, always smiling on stuff. I have the biggest imposter syndrome of anybody you have ever met. Natalie sees it better than anybody else. When I hosted my first time hosting this Case Western Reserve University fundraiser for brain cancer, it's all brain surgeons and millionaire donors. Mm-hmm. And 3 days before that, I couldn't sleep. The day of it, I said, I can't go. Who am I? What am I going to do? They loved it. They brought me back this year. And this year, when they were going to send me my money, they doubled my check, double what I wanted. And they said, we're going to give you that because we can't lose you next year. And now I know these people that are rich brain surgeons, and they love me because I'm me. I'm not them. Real quick on that. Everybody that you're intimidated by that's a lawyer, a doctor, a brain surgeon, they are nerds and they want to be cool. They want to know hip hop. They want to have swag. They want to be like, oh, that's a Rhapsody. Well, she kind of underground. Oh, look at that. They want to be cool. Yeah. Like you want to be rich. They just want to be cool. They trade in everything they have to be cool. So never doubt yourself in any of these rooms. Real quick, last thing, I promise. I watched a Nas interview. And the first time he went to the White House, he dressed in a suit. And he said, I'll never do that again. Because that ain't. And he said, next time he went, he was in Tim's. He said, that's what I do. I have this job now. When I go with clients, when I go to meet clients, I don't wear polo shirts. I don't wear a suit and tie. I wear what I'm wearing right now. My chain hanging out, ball cap, sweatsuit, whatever, shoes on my feet. And this is who they get. And what you find out is that's who they want. They already saw you. You're not fooling anybody.
Right.
Everybody, before you meet them, they've already looked at your Instagram, your Facebook, your X. They've already been there. They already know you. So if they're there with you now, they want you. So don't let self-doubt ever enter it. Just go do it.
So I appreciate everything. You have accepted me. I am socially awkward. Like I'm an introvert, socially awkward, all of that. Like I'm just not that person. And you have accepted me and made me feel like I was one of the cool people. Like I don't know about that, but you
would people listen to Soup's Kitchen and respect your opinion?
I don't
You're
know.
like the coolest of the cool. You're like a 60s jazz hep cat. Like you listen to underground stuff that people like this one. That's the coolest of the cool.
Like, but you've made me comfortable, and I appreciate that. So without you, I wouldn't be doing this. So like this is, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
You've done this. Like I hope you accept this. Like I hope you understand how important you are to the culture, to the community, to everything. This your community activist, your hosting thing, your everything that you are. I hope that you understand that you're an important piece to this. So
it's hard for me to do that because I hate arrogant people and I never want to be arrogant. So I try to eat my humble pie, but it means a lot to hear that from people. It certainly does.
I hope you understand it. And again, just thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm just so happy I actually got to do this on a real platform. Like,
yeah, that was cool.
Shout out to Mr. LP.
Nobody ever
in the
interviewed
NPN network. Shout out to the Soul Curators. Shout out to everybody that's been supporting.
But it's LP.
Mr. LP.
Mr. LP, make sure you use a nice filter on me. Sepia is nice. Maybe a wash down this side. Don't shoot too much of it. Actually, there is no good side. Shoot down the middle. You're going to hit something good. I want to know.
Yo, this has been an amazing experience. Yo, shout out to the NPN network. This has been Chop It Up with Soops. We got some amazing things coming. And I'm happy. I can't wait to do this again.
Yeah, y'all know what it is? It's your boy. Know what I mean?